Did you know some people feel emotions they can't even name? Yes, you heard me right. They feel sad or anxious but couldn't tell you what it is. It's a clinical condition called alexithymia, where people literally can't identify their emotions. But most people still act like this without ever being diagnosed, because they were never taught the language of emotions. Growing up, maybe you were taught how to be a nice kid, to be quiet or to say I'm fine, to toughen up and stop overreacting. But no one really taught you how to name what you feel, how to say I'm hurt or I'm not comfortable. The emotions you are feeling are biological signals that prepare your body to respond to any situation. But biology doesn't speak English. It speaks in signals: tight chest, racing heart, or twisted gut. If you've never learned how to be emotionally fluent, you won't simply know how to translate those signals. Here's what's really happening inside you. Every time an emotion is triggered, your brain kicks off a biological chain reaction. Neurotransmitters fire, hormones surge, and your nervous system lights up. Your body's preparing for something, but if you don't have the right emotional label, you just guess how you're feeling. And what if that guess is wrong? What if you say I'm fine, but deep down you're overwhelmed or disappointed? That's where the real problem starts, because you can't deal with what you don't recognize. That's why your emotional vocabulary matters. If all you ever say is, I'm okay, or I feel bad, you're stuck with labels that are too vague to be useful. But when you can name exactly what you feel, like frustration, shame, or disappointment, you stop feeling lost in emotions and start understanding why they're there. It's like turning on the lights in a dark room, and suddenly you see what's really going on. This skill has a name. It's called emotional granularity. It means being able to describe your feelings in detail, not just in general terms. Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett's research shows that people with high emotional granularity handle stress more calmly, recover from setbacks faster, and make smarter decisions every day. Because when you know exactly what you're feeling, you know what message it tells you. Emotions are messengers. And once you build that advanced emotional vocabulary, you start asking yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? If you feel anger, maybe it's telling you a boundary was crossed. If you feel fear, maybe it's telling you that you don't feel safe. That's why expanding your emotional vocabulary has real tangible effects. It means fewer pointless arguments with your partner, because now you can express what you actually feel, instead of arguing or shutting down. It means more clarity in your work and your own inner peace, because when you can name it, you can face it. 2. 90 seconds rule of emotions. Did you know an emotional reaction only lasts around 90 seconds? Then why does it feel like it drags on for hours? Biologically, that wave of emotion is short. It peaks and fades within 90 seconds. Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor discovered that when your brain triggers an emotion, it floods your body with chemicals. That's what causes the tight chest or the racing heart. If you don't interfere, your body resets and you return to baseline. But if it feels like it lasts longer, it's because you're keeping it alive. It's like adding fuel to the fire. You replay the conversation. Or maybe you overanalyze what they said. You add meaning, I'm not good enough. They always do this to me. And just like that, your thoughts re-trigger the emotional reaction, again and again. That's why it doesn't go away, even though the body was ready to move on. Next time, when you feel like your emotions drag you for longer, try this simple box breathing technique. It's simple. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. And when you do this, you stop feeding the fire with more thoughts. You send your nervous system a clear message. I'm safe, and now you can calm down. And when your brain gets that signal, the emotional cycle can finally end. So next time you feel emotionally flooded, try this box breathing technique. Don't try to fight your mind, just breathe and let your body close the loop. 3. Understand your own emotional regulation process. Did you know you already have a built-in system for handling emotions? Dr. James Gross called this process model of emotion regulation. Think of it like a GPS for your emotions. It maps out 5 stages where you can still steer the emotional outcome. If you act early, like choosing the situation or shifting your focus, you can take a smoother path. If you wait too long, and you're already on a rougher road with fewer options. This model helps you see where you are on the emotional map and what direction you can still choose. The first one is situation selection. Choose your environment before it chooses your emotion. You know, seeing your ex on Instagram sends you into a spiral, so you mute them, protecting your peace and reducing triggers before they hit. The second one, situation modification. You can't always avoid the stress, but you can change its emotional impact. Imagine you work with that energy vampire colleague who makes you distracted. Maybe you can't quit your job today, but you can ask to move few desks away from them. You can take a break, change how you handle meetings, or adjust the pressure points. The next one is attention deployment. It's where your focus goes, energy flows. Imagine yourself mid-argument, your blood's boiling. You want to scream, "You never listened to me." But instead you can focus on other aspects of that situation. You can pause and say, "I feel really frustrated. I want us to fix this, but I need you to actually hear me first." The fourth one is cognitive reappraisal. You can change how you think about a given situation to alter your emotional response. Your friend cancels plans. Instead of saying, "They don't care," you pause and reframe the situation. "They're probably overwhelmed and too busy with work." You change the story and your emotions change with it. And the last one, response modulation. You either choose to react or suppress. This is where most people choose wrong. You're angry, so you react and shout. Or you're hurt, but you choose to stay silent instead. And the bottom line, you have more control than you think. At every stage, there's a chance to catch the emotion, to change how you feel, how you think, or how you react. You don't have to let those emotions take over. You just need to know when to step in and how to do it. 4. Give yourself access to all emotions, even the uncomfortable ones. You need to feel all of your emotions, not just the easy ones. If you don't, you lose the message your body's trying to send. Think of your brain like a search engine. Every emotion is a keyword stored in the system that gets activated before the brain processes with emotional response. If you only allow positive keywords, like joy, gratitude, or excitement, you're filtering out half the emotional data. You'll only experience the emotions you want, not the ones you need. If you block the negative ones, like shame, fear, or envy, your emotional search results are incomplete. You're missing critical context, and you might be making decisions without the full picture, until you end up suppressing emotions you should feel, not just the ones you'd like to avoid. That's where things start to misfire. If you suppress these signals, you disconnect from your own emotional system. Your reactions become misaligned, because there's emotional miscommunication between your body and your actions. Think of emotions as pure data. They carry information. They're not trying to hurt you, they're trying to tell you something. So next time you feel emotions, pause for a second and ask yourself, what message is this emotion trying to reveal? If it's anger, maybe it tells you your boundaries were crossed. If it's fear, maybe a threat was detected. But what if certain emotions still make you uncomfortable? Some people feel guilty for feeling joy. They were taught not to get too happy, not to be too proud. Others suppress anger because they were told it's dangerous, dramatic, or rude. When you reject the bad emotions and feel guilty over the good ones, you build a wall between what you feel and what you allow yourself to process. That's where mindfulness comes in. You can start practicing mindfulness. Even 15 minutes a day matters. Mindfulness simply means noticing what you feel without judging it. It's about building the muscle of emotional awareness. You don't push the feeling away, but you don't act on it either. Mindfulness creates space between the emotion and your reaction. 5. Know your personal triggers. You might have access to your emotions, but your mind often comes with auto-suggestions. Emotional triggers that pop up before you consciously feel anything. These are fast, shaped by experience, and often tied to your past pain, unmet needs, or unresolved core beliefs. These triggers aren't random. Those are emotional imprints stored in the body and brain that influence behavior without conscious recall. Next time you feel a strong emotional wave, pause for a second and use this stop technique. Let's say you just cleaned the kitchen. Then your kids walk in and leave crumbs everywhere before you snap at someone. Pause and don't react when you notice your emotions are arriving. Then take a step back to observe yourself in the present moment. Notice what's happening in your body. Is your chest tight? Heart racing? What emotions are you feeling? Is it helplessness or anger? And then proceed with how you want to respond. Without rushing forward, you can use that cue to ask yourself, what is this emotion actually telling me? Is this really about crumbs? Or is it about feeling unappreciated? Is it touching that deeper belief that my work doesn't matter or that I'm not good enough? That trigger might not even be about today. It might trace all the way back to your childhood, where you constantly had to earn love or prove your worth. But when you recognize the root, you can reframe it. You can say, I feel irritated. But the fact is, they left crumbs. That's not proof of disrespect. Maybe they were rushing. 6. Separate facts from feelings. What if I told you your emotions don't just react to reality, they shape how you see it? This is called emotional bias, and it's how your brain distorts reality through the lens of what you feel. Neuroscience research from Princeton and Stanford shows that emotional states literally change how your brain processes information. Your attention narrows, Your memory recalls only the bad stuff, and then your interpretation gets skewed. That's why when you're angry, everyone feels like the enemy. Now here's where most people go wrong. They trust those thoughts like facts. But just because you feel it doesn't mean it's true. When emotions run high, don't assign meaning right away. Try this separate facts from story technique. Let's say you texted a friend and they didn't reply. The fact is, they haven't answered. You might feel rejected or even ignored. But don't create the story. They must be mad at me. I said something wrong. Instead, pause and ask yourself, what do I know for sure? Just the fact there is no reply yet. Everything else is just your emotions telling a story. Because the truth is, emotions are powerful storytellers, but not always honest ones. 7. Build your own emotional management system. Think of yourself as the operations manager of your emotional system. Every day you'll experience different emotional responses, sending different signals. But if you don't manage them properly, you will be too overwhelmed. And like any manager, your job isn't to shut emotions down. It's to direct them, understand them, and keep the system from going off the rails. That's why you need to build your own emotional management system. Because if you don't manage your emotions, they'll manage you. What does an emotional management system actually look like? Managing your emotions isn't about using one perfect trick. It's about building a set of tools so you have options when emotions hit you hard. Because not every emotion needs the same response. You don't deal with sadness the same way you deal with stress. Here's what your system can include. Box breathing technique. It calms your body and gives you space before reacting. Mindfulness, which I also mentioned earlier. This doesn't mean you have to meditate all day. It just means being aware of what you feel without judging it. That pause helps to teach you how to respond smarter, not just explode or shut down. Next thing, you can try journaling. Writing your thoughts down helps get them out of your head. When you see your emotions on paper, it's easier for you to understand what's really going on. No one tool works for everything, but that's the point. You're not trying to control your emotions, you're learning to understand and guide them. Because when you have tools in place, you stop getting stuck in the same emotional loops. You stay in charge even when life hits you hard. If you found value in this video, hit subscribe to become the next Healthy Mind CEO.